So we have arrived at the Shemona Esrei. And in the Talmud, whenever it talks about Tefillah, it's speaking about the Shemona Esrei, which is the essence and the main point of all our formal prayer. Remember, we have informal prayer, which is just speaking to Hashem from your heart in English, or whatever your language is. This is my book, simple. Una guía práctica para la atención plena y idea consciente y alegre. So whatever your language is. And then we have formal prayer, which we said it doesn't make a lot of sense, because how can prayer be formal? But we gave lots of answers to that question. And we're going to do, once we understand what we're saying, we're going to do it from our heart. Why is the Shemona Esrei called the Amidah? Why is it called the Amidah? Well, one reason is because you stand up to say it. Amidah means to stand up. Stand up. But what we've been doing, going through the siddur, we've been saying that there are these 4 levels of consciousness. There's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And the beginning of the siddur, the first part of the morning prayers are all about physicality. Wash your hands, go to the bathroom, open your eyes, get dressed, all of those things. The second part, which is Pesukei de Zimra, is all emotional. Psalms, Tehillim, songs of praises, just opening our heart to the wonder of creation. The third part of Tefillah is intellectual, a declaration of our faith, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And the fourth is spiritual. So we're now moving into the spiritual dimension. Way back many months ago when we started this course, we said that this is all based on Jacob's ladder. So Jacob's ladder had 4 steps: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. So what Rav Levi Yitzhak of Bedichev says is that it's called the Amidah because you're on the top of the ladder now. You're just standing there on top of the ladder. There's nowhere to go anymore. You're not. Until now, every stage of the morning prayer is kind of a journey. We're walking up the mountain. Walking up the mountain, physical, emotional, mental. Now we're standing on the top of the mountain. With the whole world. I don't know if you've ever climbed in the Himalayas before. But you just got the whole world spread out in front of you. An amazing thing. And that's how you should actually feel when you step into Shemona Esrei, into the Amidah. You should feel, I'm on top of the mountain now. Face to face with Hashem. So I'm going to read you 2 classic sources about how you should feel when you pray. The first is from the Mesillas Yesharim. Hechad. How do you get to this state of immense spiritual God consciousness? You have to think. Shehu omed mamash lifnei habara yitbarach shemo. You have to feel that you're actually literally standing mamish, really literally in front of Hashem. Now, are you actually standing in front of Hashem? Yes. Absolutely. Wherever you are. But do you feel that way? Absolutely not. Have you ever had a one-on-one with the Rosh Yeshiva? You're waiting out. Can you imagine having a one-on-one with the Rosh Yeshiva? You're waiting outside his office. How would you feel?
Pretty intense.
Very excited.
Yeah.
Not afraid. You're not scared. Remember, we spoke about Youre doesn't mean I'm afraid. No. It means I'm in awe. I'm like, and then the Rosh Yeshiva opens the door. That's how you're meant to feel when you step into Shemona Esrei. Immense excitement, joy, but I'm literally standing face to face with Hashem. You would behave differently if you knew you were standing face to face. In fact, if the Rosh Yeshiva walked into the room right now, you'd stand up. You'd actually stand up. That's another reason it's called Amidah. Because when you realize you're in the presence of a great person, then you stand up. All the more so if you realize I'm actually literally in the presence of God. That's pretty intense, pretty exciting. No, and you're having a conversation with him. Now when you say brachas, if you haven't started saying brachas yet, that's cool, you will one day. When you say brachas, Baruch atah Hashem, Elokeinu melech haolam, borei pri ha'etz. Do you feel that you're speaking to Hashem, who's really sitting there? Who's closer to you now, me or Hashem?
Well, no, the thing makes sense though. When my son's closer to you, there's no separation.
Even to that extent, that yes, how can you even go back? When we're talking about close, we don't necessarily mean physically. Now Hashem's definitely physically closer to you, although Hashem's not physical. Hashem, I'm this far away from you. Hashem is, well no, Hashem's in your face. Every cell of your body. Like, if you got two things, this is the closest that two physical things can get. Two physical things can't take up the same space. But a physical and a spiritual thing can take up the same space. Your body and your soul, you and Hashem. So Hashem, it's lots of time when I'm praying, I'm not just saying the words. I'm just trying to get into a state where I feel that I'm literally, Hashem is sitting on my lap. Not that he's sitting on my lap when I'm standing up, but you get the idea. Just to feel that Hashem's actually, really, truly present. It's an amazing, game-changing thing. The very first thing it says in the Shulchan Aruch, Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. I should have the perception and the experience of literally being in the presence of the infinite, conscious, loving, divine creator of the universe. That will completely change your life. You wouldn't watch things that you shouldn't watch. You wouldn't say things you shouldn't say. You'd be a great and you'd be a happy, amazing person. Even though you can't see Hashem, thank God, we're not the only ones. The Ramchal himself says this is very, very difficult to actually do. Because Hashem's not tangible. Sights are tangible, and sounds are tangible, and tastes are tangible, and touch is tangible, and sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. Your five senses are tangible. Hashem's not tangible. So it's very, very, very difficult to do it because we're not being helped. Because your senses aren't helping you with this. Amnan, nevertheless, Mishu Bal Seichel Nachon, whoever's slightly intelligent, a master of a correct intellect, Bal Seichel Nachon, Bim'ad Hitbonenut V'simet Lev, with a little bit of contemplation and attention, Yuchal Likbaya Bilibo Amitat Adava. You can actually start to feel the truth of this. Just a little bit of meditation is what he's saying. A little bit of hope. Is Hashem really here? Yes. Is Hashem loving and wanting of a relationship? Yes. Is Hashem keeping your heart beating right now and your lungs moving? Every breath you take, every move you make, every single day, every time you pray, I'll be watching you. That's what it says. Einu ba v'naisei noten mamashimo. How you are lit. Can Hashem hear you when you speak?
Hope so.
Hope so. Hashem can't not hear, actually. So it shouldn't take that much to actually get into your experiential consciousness. It first has to come as das, as I know it's true. And then we have to take what we know to be true and then start feeling it. So we say, V'yadata hayam v'hashavata levavacha. You should know today, and then place it in your heart. So the first step is hitbaninut. I know that you're here, Hashem. I know that Hashem is here. And then get it into your heart through your speech. So, on the back of my phone I have a sticker that says, Hashem, I know you're here. Hashem, I know you're here. And Hashem's like, no way, I'm not going near a smartphone. Hashem, I know you're here. So what you should do, and I suggest this deeply, is walk around as much as you can saying, Hashem, I know you're here. When you're going from here to the bathroom, rather than think about what people think of you or what you're doing for lunch, think, Hashem, I know you're here. Keep saying that. Hashem, I know you're here. I know you love me. I know you can hear me. I know you're keeping my heart beating. Just keep saying it. Because your heart doesn't work with logic. The first step is hitbaninot, logic. I logically know, I can prove to you that there is an infinite divine creator of the universe. I can prove to you that he wrote the Torah. I can prove to you that halakha is actually very good for you. I can prove to you that He loves you. I can prove all that. I can prove that logically, intellectually. I'll prove it. Sam Harris, come. We'll do it. Let's go. But that doesn't help your heart, because your heart doesn't work with logic. Your heart just needs to be told, I know you're here. I know you're here. I know you're here. I know you're here, Hashem. I know you're here. So just anyone with any sort of seichel, they're going to actually be able to get it. V'lefanav hu mitchanen, and in front of Hashem you are praying. U'mi'ito u'mevakesh, and from Hashem you are requesting. When you're davening Shemona Esrei, or you're asking something from Hashem, do you really feel like you're really asking? You're like, Uvnei Yerushalayim Yerakodesh. Please Hashem. I'm not just saying the words of the Amidah, and please rebuild Jerusalem. I'm actually really asking, please Hashem, no? Uvnei Yerushalayim Yerakodesh b'mheira v'imenu. That'd be amazing. It's going to be cool. We're going to be here. It's going to be just out the window. And Hashem's listening to you. And He cares. He's listening. He has attention to what you're saying. Just like you're speaking to your friend. When you're speaking to God, do you feel like you're speaking to me or your friend? Not really, because I can see my friend. I can hug my friend. So it's difficult. He says himself, it's very difficult. But this is what you want to try and do. I was giving a class yesterday on Zoom. And one of the participants, I was talking about that you should love putting on tefillin. And I told the lemon story. I'm obsessed with the lemon. That's the best story ever. Says, come on, Rabbi, but you put on tefillin every day. There's no way you can get some crazy spiritual rush. And because I said, what would you rather? Give a piece of lemon, Meiser Rishon to a Levi, or go to the best sports game, the final of the Super Bowl, and then go out with the team afterwards? And I said, look, if you were really spiritually connected, of course you'd give a Meiser Rishon to a Levi rather than... I said, okay, very good, but no one's like that. You can't, we do that every day. If you put on tefillin every day, it's going to go bad. And I said, I hear that, but I'm not okay with it. That's the difference between you and me. That's the difference. I also think it's very hard, but because it's hard, I'm not going to not do it. I'm going to try very hard to make it new and fresh and good every day. So what we said yesterday, it says, "V'haseiti etchem mi sivlos Mitzrayim." I took you out. I'm going to take you out from the sivlot of Mitzrayim, which the literal translation is the burdens of Mitzrayim, the burdens of Egypt. But the sages say sivlot comes from the word savlanot, related to the word savlanot, which means patience, which means they were a slave to Mitzrayim because they were like, this is just life. So this is what life is. And he said to me, look, Rabbi, this is life. You're going to put on your tefillin. It can't be a spiritual thing because you do it every day. And I said, well, that's your problem. You're a slave to believing it can't get better. I'm not. I'm going to I don't have anything more worthwhile to do in my life. Well, then help people, but also to make sure that I'm enjoying putting on tefillin. And if you're going to pray 3 times a day, you better enjoy it. You better understand it. If you're going to keep Shabbat, it better be something you're looking forward to doing. So lots of people say, no, I keep Shabbat. I'm religious. I'm frum. I do all the rules. But there's no vitality in it. It's like, what a shame. Oh my goodness, what a waste of your time. You're going to daven 3 times a day, say brachas all day, put on your tefillin, keep Shabbat with no emotional investment. Well, that's so sad. And then people say, yeah, but what can you do? That's life. I'm like, no, that's not life. That's what you're meant to work on. You're meant to work on becoming more conscious. Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch, the foundational book of Jewish law, says, chapter 98, Tzadichet, Tzarich liyeh lo kavana b'tfilato. You have to have kavana in your tefillah. You have to have intention. If you pray, but you have no intention, it's not even called praying, it's called mumbling Hebrew words that you don't understand. Especially if you don't understand it. If you don't speak Hebrew and you're saying Shemona Esrei in Hebrew, you didn't daven, you didn't pray. You didn't fulfill your obligation of davening mincha. You just did ulpan, maybe. So, obviously, if you can do it in Hebrew, it's better, but not because Hashem doesn't understand English, but because there's deep mystical depth to the Hebrew language, and the Torah was given in Hebrew, and there's definitely depth to it, but until you get there, you say it in English. But this is your kavana. Hamid Pedal sarich sheyichaven belibo perish milot The person who is praying has to yechaven b'libo, have this direction in their heart, intention in their heart, perish hamilot, the meaning of the words, the very, very basic level. Just understand what you're saying. But he doesn't just say an intellectual understanding, but libo, in your heart. You should know what you're saying. Do you know what you're saying? I was teaching in England about 5 years ago. I was there for Pesach. And between Mincha and Mariv on Pesach, I spoke. And I said to everyone, who here felt some gratitude to Hashem for giving us the land of Israel today? And they're like, what? I thought you were going to tell us something about Pesach, leaving Egypt, and Chametz. And I said, just tell me, anyone here, did anyone have even one moment of deep gratitude that Hashem gave us the land of Israel? And I'm like, no. And I said, did anyone bench? Did anyone say the Birkat Hamazon today? And they were like, of course we did, after lunch, we benched. I said, do you know that the second paragraph of Birkat Hamazon is it's thanking Hashem for the land of Israel. Did you even notice that that's what you were doing, or were you just singing a song? So you could say the words and know what they mean. But if you don't feel gratitude for the land of Israel, thanking Hashem for the land of Israel, but you don't feel that, that's a bit of a waste of time. So knowing what you're saying, that's the lowest level. But it's very important. But you've got to feel what you're saying. I was running the Shabbaton in northern Israel. This sounds like a joke, but it wasn't. It was me and my wife and my kids and a couple of other religious families, 60 secular college girls from America. Hot pants, phones, whatever the thing. So there was this complex. It wasn't a hotel. I don't know what it was, but it was a complex with us, and on the other part was a family of Gera Hasidim. It sounds like a joke. So this Hasidic family, about 30 people in this Hasidic. You got the grandfather and all children, maybe more. So they had one side, and then we had the other side. So obviously I decided I'm going to daven with the Hasidim. So Friday night I went to daven with them, and my wife and the girls led the girls, and they were like, what are you doing? And I said, Kirov, we want to empower the Jewish people to come back to Hashem. And Gera Hasidim speak Hebrew, so I speak to them probably. And the grandfather was very interested. He said, okay, very interesting. So Shachris, I was going down with Shachris, and they all gathered around me, like, how's it? And I go, it was amazing, Friday night, people were sharing, singing songs, telling them that. And these girls are still on Shabbos this morning, they're walking around with their phones. They couldn't believe it. Daven Mincha, and then after Mincha they said, so what's going on? By third meal, the girls, lots of them were crying. I didn't know what it means to be a Jew, and it's so amazing. It was an amazing, powerful, beautiful Shabbat. We davened Mariv after Shabbos, and the grandfather, he was leading the thing. He said, how was it? I said, amazing Shabbos. And I said to them, I just want you to know something. I also do Kirov on Hasidim. I also bring Hasidim closer. And the grandfather was like, yeah? What do you mean? And he got all everyone else around and said, come in here. So I said, okay. So we just davened Mariv. We just prayed the evening prayer. And in the evening prayer we said Aleinu. We finished the prayer with Aleinu. There are 2 paragraphs of Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabach l'adam hakol dekla severishi shelo sanu kol. And the second bracha is Va'al kein nikaveh lecha Hashem. So I said to them, you just said Aleinu. What is the fundamental difference between the first paragraph of Aleinu and the second paragraph of Aleinu? So they were like, well, in the first one's talking about this and that one. And I don't know. And they said, okay, I don't know. Tell me. And I said, in the first paragraph of Aleinu, we're talking about Hashem. Talking about Hashem. In the second paragraph of Aleinu, Al Kei Nikaveh Lecha, we're speaking to Hashem. That's a major difference. That's a major difference. Imagine I speak about the Rosh Hashiva. the Rosh Yeshiva is amazing, good character traits, and then the Rosh Yeshiva walks in the room. Shalom Rosh Yeshiva. That's a complete. The first paragraph of Aleinu should be a completely different experience to the second paragraph of Aleinu. You're talking about it. The grandfather's like, amazing! We don't know what we're doing. I've been doing this for 80 years. I have no idea. And everyone else was like, so mate, what do we need to learn? And I said, learn Bavavi. And oh my goodness, that's amazing. Like, if you don't feel the difference between speaking about God and speaking to God, you're not on the page. You just went, putting your tefillin away again. But in the shul, one of the shuls I daven in, it says, Aleinu, ze lo tefilat haderech. Aleinu, it's not the traveler's prayer, because people are saying it as they walk out the door, Not the traveler's prayer. So you got to, in your life, all the time, the most important word in the siddur is ata, you, when you're speaking to Hashem, or any word that finishes with cha, nodeh lecha. It's talking directly to Hashem. So, for example, in benching, Birkat Hamazon, after we eat bread, there are 4 blessings. The first blessing, is it talking about Hashem or to Hashem? Hu notein lechem lecho basaki. Hu notein lechem lecho basaki. Obviously, it starts with Baruch Atah Hashem. Hu notein lechem. He gives. So the first bracha in benching is talking about Hashem. It's not talking to Hashem. At the end, it finishes Baruch Atah Hashem. Second one, to Hashem or about Hashem. Noidelecha Hashem Elokeinu. Speaking to Hashem. You should feel that. If you don't feel that, where are you? Third, to Hashem. Rachemna Hashem Elokeinu al Yisrael Amecha. I've got a siddur where I highlighted all the chaz and all the atas. Fourth one, about. Who hativ, who meitiv, who is me? So the first bracha of benching is about Hashem. Then you got to Hashem, about Hashem. You got to feel that. Otherwise you're not on the page. You don't know what you're saying. What are you doing? How about this? Enke Elokeinu, Enke Adonenu, Enke Magenu, Enke Mashiachenu, Michael Elokeinu, Michael Noidel Elokeinu, Baruch Elokeinu, Atahu Elokeinu, Atahu, Atah. That's going to be the greatest moment of your life. Wow. So the end of the, everyone thinks, oh, it's the end of davening. Finish myself now. Get rid of that. Say that. Aleinu, Kiddush, Cholent. You've got to be hitting that Atahu Elokeinu. Atahu Elokeinu. You are Atah. And by the time you finished, they've finished the Kiddush. That's like you got the JFK club. You don't want to be part of the JFK club. Just for Kiddush.
Just for Kiddush?
It's the JFK club. They come to Shul JFK just for Kiddush. No. JFD. Just for davening. We've got a sign in my shul now that says, please speak in shul. Only to Hashem. And we didn't even get halfway through this, but we'll carry on. So this is our first thing, is know what you're saying. Just know what you're saying. And feel what you're saying. It's a basic thing. If you go up to your wife, and you just go up to her and read something, blah, 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 blah. So, what is that? Where's the communication? Where's the relationship with it? So fine, so we're trying to get into the right mindset and attitude to stand in front of the divine creator of the universe. That's why, if you really understand what I'm saying, you want to daven mincha. You're looking for, it's not like, okay, I'll daven mincha, and I'll get it over and done with. Once you understand what's going on here, mincha is the highlight of your day. Shachris, mincha, mar. Shabbos.